When I was 7 years old, second grade, was when I first noticed that if I was seated in the back of the classroom, I was unable to see what was going on in the front of the classroom, the teacher drawing on the chalkboard. First, I was diagnosed as being farsighted, and then they said, no, it must be nearsighted, and well, we're really not sure. And then later, my little sister, who's 4 years younger than I, started showing signs of visual impairment. And so it was the summer of '75 that Mom and Dad took both of us to the quote-unquote specialists in Boston for 3 days of testing. And boy, oh boy, they did brain scans and eye x-rays and anything and everything you could think of. And we were diagnosed at that time with juvenile macular degeneration. And what that simply means is that the center of your retina is the macula, and the macula has degenerated to the point where there was no sight any longer. And then to fast forward to now, about 18 months ago, I guess this was the summer of '08, it was becoming evident that I was no longer self-sufficient. I was becoming somewhat dangerous, I guess. And it was time to decide, am I a cane guy or a dog guy? And as you can see, I'm a dog guy. Phelps is truly a godsend. Next to Jesus and my wife, he is my best friend. Phelps is a yellow lab, and he's 65 pounds. He just turned 3 years old last week. And he and I graduated from the Guide Dogs for the Blind school in Portland, Oregon, April 18th. So we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. And in 1 year, he and I have been to 28 states. Phelps is quite a traveling dog. You know, I felt like with my wife and my children, I'm the guy, basic, stereotypical, chauvinistic thought process. I'm the guy. I should be the driver of the family car. I'm the one who should take care of my wife and kids. Even down to from providing financially to providing for care of the house, handyman kind of fix-it qualities, to protection. What if an intruder came into the house and I can't see to protect my family? So I guess, some of that is valid and certainly understandable. So I had certain expectations of what I hoped to gain from my relationship with God in regards to receiving my sight, in regards to being healed. And boy, I can't tell you the number of people who felt led. Are we boring you, Phelps? Who felt led to lay hands on me, all the sweaty palms I've had on my forehead, on my eyes. And God bless these people. They felt like they were fulfilling the Great Commission, and that's an interesting part of the process too, is dealing with my own perception of God when I wasn't healed and continued not to be healed. Okay, is that God's fault? Is that my fault? Am I doing something wrong? Maybe if obviously I don't have enough faith to be healed, and of course that's the typical default, is that I'm the fall guy. I'm the one who's visually impaired. I always got a kick out of the verse that talked about Jesus and his disciples coming across a man who had been blind his whole life, and the disciples said, "Whose fault is this? Who sinned, his parents or this man, that he was born blind?" Hello, he was born blind, so how did he sin? Okay. Anyway, and of course the answer is true. It's not that anybody sinned. It has nothing to do with sin in that case. It has to do with glorifying God the Father and having an opportunity to show his love. Angela and the kids and I sat under a ministry where they preached that you cannot please God without faith. I mean, that's biblical. And that it is God's will, every time, all the time, to heal. And that brings me to my point, I guess, which is that is so immature, I think. Sure, if you want to just talk about that in a fundamental manner, but if you go a little deeper and you allow yourself to consider that God actually has higher ways and higher thoughts and a bigger picture, and that possibly because of the challenges, the struggles, the adversities that a person has to deal with, and I mean on a day-to-day basis, a moment-by-moment basis. We all, of course, want to be zapped by God and get the quick fix. But when Father loves us to the point where he's willing to work with us through the situation and allow us to develop, I mean, where the Bible says perseverance, for those of us who do have to persevere, and of course, we all have to persevere in one way or another. Jesus himself said, in this world, in this life, you will have trouble. And even if it was God's will for me to be healed, great. But what about the rest of my life? And all the other difficulties and all the other trials and temptations and adversities. If dealing with my visual impairment has helped me, given me sort of a leg up, if you will, on dealing with adversity and realizing that it's not my fault. It's not because of some tremendous sin. It's not because of the sins of my youth. I truly believe that adversity is the catalyst that God uses to connect with us. I am so blessed. I'm so blessed. I have a wonderful wife, a good, godly, brave woman who's been married to me for 26 years. We have 6 children and a wonderful home. I've got a great job. I'm so thankful for being gainfully employed, especially in the economy that we're in. And so it's kind of funny because I travel so much that, and of course Phelps is a rock star everywhere we go. Everybody says, wants to say hello to him or pet him, and of course ask about him, what's his name, and how old is he, and how long have we been together. And that, of course, opens up the opportunity to talk with that person about Phelps. And then, of course, the easy segue is into who I am in my life and how blessed I am, my wife Angela and our children, and just what God has done in our lives in regards to adopting our precious daughter Aspen from China in June of '06, and our full of life and energy daughter Avalon from Vietnam last April, and now we have the privilege of adopting Anya from China, and will probably receive travel approval this October. I mean, it just tickles me because these people seeing me, I imagine the folks in the airport as they watch me walk down the hallway, you know, being led by Phelps, and I'm trying to find the right gate and find my chair and get settled in. And I imagine I can hear them thinking, oh, the poor blind guy. And yet, if they could trade places with me, if they knew what my life was like and the blessings I experience on a daily basis, I guarantee you they would give up their sight. And I know the way that sounds. I'm not saying that because of my sight loss, because of my visual impairment, I am who I am or where I am. It's only because of God and His grace. It's because of God's love and the path that He has laid out for me, and that if I just wake up in the morning and say, Father, I want to listen and I want to obey, lead me. And if I had to lose my sight to get to this place of dependence on Him, then thank God for it.